example is also good.
To advance sales for an agribusiness organization providing animal health products by utilizing my education and sales experience in related fields.
Okay, here you can copy this, all right, by utilizing my education and sales experience in related fields. Right? They are all useful job objectives. You just change the titles. You just change your professional field. That's it. All right, very simple. So one sentence for job objective. Right. So right after job objective. Okay. Right after job objective, we will talk about education. All right, educational experience. So since you are still university schools, university students, so you don't have many working experience, right? So you may start with the educational experience. But if you have a job already and your job is quite impressive, then you start with your job experience, working experience first, and then you put your educations in the second part. Okay, so here we start with the education and the qualifications. With the educations, right, first of all, you need to reverse chronological orders, which I mentioned already. Right, you start with your university degree or highest degree you received, right, and then going back, right, to the years work educational experience, and then. Of course, you need to put your degree objectives, right? And you include grades. Grade is optional, right here. Grade is optional. If you got very high, good grades, impressive grades, then you can put it in your resume. Otherwise, you just leave it out, right? You don't need to put your GPA. And GPA grade, point, average. Okay, here's another video.
A few remaining things are education, training,
about
awards,
education,
technology skills, and references. For education, be sure to list your college or university name and degree earned. Including your GPA and year of graduation depends. New students often will include both, your GPA especially if it is positive.
Alright, so if your GPA is quite positive, you put your GPA in. Otherwise, you just leave it out. Alright, but of course you need to mention the college, the school you graduated from, and the degree, alright, your majors. So the selector will see if your professional knowledge can fit their vacancy. Okay, so that's the third part of the education. Alright, so we start with the headers. Header is the name, right? Name and personal contact information. And the second part is objective, right? And now the third part is education. Alright, here on the first page, E is missing. Education, alright? Education. You may want to put the E, alright? Capital E in front of education. Okay, so that's the third part of education and the qualifications. Okay, and the next part is work experience. Right? Some of you may have a part-time job before or even current part-time job, so you can mention that. Right? If you don't have any working experience, then you can mention about the clubs you served for or you served before. So let's take a look. Right? You may want to write your work experience about the interactions with people, right? Here it says don't mention routine or non-people task. Non-people task means like wash dishes, no interaction with people. It's more help, right? So you leave this out. But what you can say here, you can mention that you work in the team, right? So for example, if you work in a shop or a restaurant, right, then you may mention that you work with a team. You are okay with the teamwork, right, which will help. And the quality service to the customers. Even you just help the company, help a restaurant to order something or order food, which is quite simple work, right? But you can mention that you provide a quality service to the customers. Okay, and you also can tell them that how smart you are dealing with complaints, right? We all frightened of complaints, but how you deal with the complaints is very, very skillful or very critical. So you can say that you can provide quality service and teamwork, okay, and also how can you dealing with the complaints, right? If you get a chance to be interviewed, then you can bring the stories up. That will help you to get the job, to get the offer. So, and what else? All right, number 3, related skills to the job. All right, just we mentioned, if you are applying for a job in a rotation, you don't need to tell them that you can juggle, right? So here is an example. If you want to apply a job in marketing, then you can share your experience about the negotiation, your negotiating skills, and your persuading skills, because you want to sell, right? In the sales market, you want to provide the skills that related to the job, all right? If something is not related to the job, then you don't need to mention it because it won't help. Okay, and the number 4 is to use action words. This is very important. Right? When you're working on your resume, you usually use action words, active words. Right? Let me give you an example. Here, you can. Let me watch this video first. Right? So you get ideas about your work experience, how to write your work experience, and then we'll talk about action words.
Here's where your self-assessment should really help. Work experience. As you list your work experience, you want to state clearly the company name and your title. You also want to include the dates of employment. We'll talk about dates in a minute. Just be sure to place this information consistently for each.
Alright, so you may put your information consistently, which means, for example, if you already it's been 3 years after your graduation, and you are hired by a company in the first year, and you are employed the second year, but you get a job again in the third year, right? So when you get an interview or you want to write the working experience in your resume, you may want to say that in the second year because you are unemployed. You can find a job during that year, right? But you don't say you are unemployed. You can say you went to prep school to improve your language skills, or you can say you travel somewhere, you don't want to put that totally blank, right? Totally empty, because that will show that you are not qualified. Okay, so you may try to put the story consistently. Okay.
Each work experience entry. To give your description of achievements and skills or traits from that experience, I'd suggest using bullet points.
You do know bullet points, in a spot, right? Like number 1. This is a bullet. Okay, you put number 1, or you use different symbols to have a different bullet points. Okay.
Typically, your work experience or your skills listings is what really sets you apart. A couple of tips.
Okay, action words.
Use action words to help describe your skills and achievements. Here are just a few action words. Coordinated, accomplished, created, delivered, demonstrated, implemented, launched, strengthened, unified, processed, initiated, and many others. See your handouts for a larger list of action verbs. Another important tip, you don't want your resume to be a job description of your roles. Include measurables within your statements. Here are some examples. Expanded sales by 40% through increased sales activity, and teaming with marketing to develop strategic incentive programs for distributors.
Okay, here when you write your work experience, you may try to put some numbers in it. All right. For example, you help your club to organize a competition. Then you can mention that I organize 100 people's competition, or you help them catering a big dinner party, right? And how many people there? You can say 50 people, right, attended that party. So you try to tell them that how many people you put the service on, and or if you are dealing with the paperwork, right, you can say I analyzed 150 papers. Right? Or you analyze like 200 data statistics, right? So you put the numbers that will really help.
Initiated and implemented a process for compensation reviews within the organization of 400 people. Coordinated 10 industry trade show events with pre-event promotional marketing, on-site activities, and post-event evaluation. All of these.
Okay, so you put numbers in your working experience. Right? I would like to talk about the action words. You may take a look at page 4. Page 4. Some more action words. The professional people already show us some of the words, right? But I make a list of the words that will be very useful for your resume. Alright, so you may take a look here. Some more action words for your CV or application form. Alright, there are two examples. The first example is not that good, but the second one I rewrite it. The second one, which is good. Okay, so let's take a look at the first sample. For example, for my final year project, I had to carry out a survey of patients' attitude to healthcare services for the elderly. You see that I have to. This sounds like I'm forced to. I'm not happy to do that. Somebody forced me to do that, right? So have to is not a good word. So and then this involved interviewing patients in hospital and in their homes. A database was used is a passive sentence, right? 被动句子 passive sentence to keep track of data and collect it. The project was finished on time and was awarded a 2.1 grade, which is okay. This one is okay, but better yet, you can put the other example here. Okay, the second column. Devised and prepared a survey of patients' attitude to healthcare services for the elderly as my final year project. So you see the difference? Devised, prepared is more active, right? Interviewed 70. So here we put numbers here, right? It shows evidence. So interviewed 70 elderly patients and obtained a substantial amount of data. Substantial means rich, large, a lot of data. Alright, created is a good word. Created a database to analyze and interpret this material. Completed this project 3 weeks ahead. Right? So you show that you can finish job quickly, right? Of schedule and achieve a 2.1 grade. Alright, so the first paragraph is all passive sentence, but the second part is more active. Right? And for your resume, you don't need to write the whole sentence. You don't start a sentence with a noun, with a subject, a noun, and a verb. You can just start with a verb, but use a passive, use past verb. Right? Like a device, prepared, because you have done all of the things before. You have done it, so we use all past tense. So some of the action words you may take a look, like achieved, administered, advised, analyzed, assessed, budgeted, calculated, clarified, completed, conducted, controlled, or coordinated, created, designed, right? Demonstrated, developed, diagnosed, discovered, evaluated, examined, explained, initiated, instructed, managed, monitored, negotiated, organized, persuaded, right? And planned, presented, promoted, recommended, represented, researched, responsible for, right? Responsible for is also a good phrase. Right? Selected, solved, supervised, supported, taught, test, unified. Right? They are action words, so you may put action words to describe your working experience. Okay, you got it? Right? Not necessary to write the whole complete sentence. So you can start with a verb. Right? Use past tense of the verb. Okay, so that's the fourth part of your resume. Okay, and the fifth part will be your skills. When we talk about skills, we talk about computing skills. Like I can use Microsoft Office. Right? You can organize. You can operate it. You can operate like Word, Excel. You know how to use Excel, etc. So usually skills means language skills and computing skills. All right, the language skills. How many languages you can speak? Chinese, Mandarin, Chinese, Taiwanese, English, right? And you put the levels of English. Usually you can say that intermediate, right? We don't say my English is poor, right? Nobody will hire you. But you just say that you just put intermediate, right? Or good conversational English, something like that. Even it's not good enough, you still try to say good, okay? That's languages, competing, like good working experience, good working knowledge of Excel, etc. Alright, so you put the software that you can do, like a movie maker, you know how to make movies, you know how to put captions in the movie. Usually skills means computing and language. Okay, and the next is interest and achievement. Alright. So, for example, when we talk about, hey, what hobbies do you have? Right? Usually we put swimming, reading, shopping, right? So here, when you put your interest or achievement, right, you don't put many passive or solitary hobbies. Solitary means you can do something alone without interactions with people, right? Like swimming, stamp collecting, right? Never mentioned that one of your hobbies is stamp collecting because it won't help to get you a job, right? So you may try to, if you want to say reading, that's okay, but you may be prepared for a question, all right? Because you're a selector, your interview will ask you, oh, you like reading, so what kind of books you like to read, right? So you have to be prepared. For example, here is a sample sentence. I particularly enjoy Dickens. Dickens is a writer, a well-known writer. For the vivid insight you get into life is Victorian times, right? So you try to bring reasons why you like reading. Why you like doing something else, right? You can sports is good. Sports. You know, having sports is a good example for your hobbies. When you talk about your hobbies, you can say I play basketball, I play baseball, right? Or other balls or other teamwork, right? Try to bring out teamwork. That will help. Okay. And number 3 is any evidence of leadership, right? So if you were a leader for a club, right, or if you are the course representative or the chair of the student society, president club, or scouts leader, right? So if you have any leadership in the past few years, try to bring this up because that will happen. Okay, so that's the 6th part of your resume, and the last part is references. But usually we don't put the references in the resume because first of all your selectors will take a look at your qualification first. If they want to know more about you, usually we put this one, right? It's fine to omit this section, but you can put references are available on request. Right? If your future employer wants to get information about references, then they will send you a request. Right? So you provide references later. Okay, normally 2 references will be sufficient. Right? Like one from academic, one from your employment. Right? Usually we have 2 references. One is your supervisor or your professor, one of your professor, and then the other is your boss, your previous boss. Alright, but you have to make sure that the boss will be nice to you. Right? Otherwise, that will ruin your career. Okay, so usually we have 2 references. Alright, if they require to bring references, then you can provide information like this. Put the name of your reference, okay, and the address, the telephone number, and the email address. Okay, so they can contact them. They do contact references. I remember one of our teachers from ILCC. He left before. His name is Alex. He left 3 years ago, and he tried to get a job from different university. Right? And that the dean of the department, English department, did call our director, right? So to ask about his contribution in ILCC. So they will do this. Okay, so that's the 7th part of references. I combine from 5. Number 5 is skills. Number 6 is interest and achievement. Number 7 is references, right? So I combine this 3 into a video. Okay, 5th part, 6th part,
Key skills. Whether you realise it or not, you'll have picked up many skills over the years. Some tangible, some less so. Include every other.
Alright, some tangible, some less so. I put Chinese.
Some tangible.
I type Chinese here. But tangible means real.
some less so.
Right? For example, I will mention skills, right? Skills means computing skills and language skills, right? We don't, I just mentioned that. You don't need to say that my English is poor, right? You say my conversational language skills is okay, or you say intermediate level, about the intermediate level. So this is why they say some less so.
Include every IT package or program you have used as well
Okay, that's computing skills.
as any foreign language skills you've gained, and state whether you're at a basic, intermediate or advanced level. Hobbies and interests. Including these is optional. The idea is to give the interviewer a more rounded picture and perhaps something more personal to discuss at an interview. References. It's not necessary to list references on your CV, but you should state the details are available on request.
Okay, so you can put like this, alright? Available upon request. Short video, just to impress the content. Alright, so you may take a look at the first page, right? We've gone through resume, right? And on the second page, the last sentence in the second page, I'm happy to supply this on request. Right? So I'm willing to supply this on request. Okay, another example on the third page, available. Last sentence, last part, the reference, available upon request. Available upon request. Usually you put the sentence here. Even you don't have references, you don't exactly have references, you may want to put available upon request. If the company will contact you and ask you if you can provide references, then you just give the references later, right? But you may, before you give in the references to your future employer, you may need to contact the references first, all right? Call your supervisor, call your professor, or call your previous employers, all right, to inform them that I put you as my references. Once you receive phone call, right, that one may happen. Okay, so that's the resume for the first part. Do you have any questions? No problem, right? Okay, now I'm going to ask you a question, right? In the resume, I mentioned 7 parts, right? Now, number 1 is your name, which we call headers, right? Headers. How about the others? Please raise your hand. Yeah, objective, all right? Job objective. And what else?
Education qualification.
Education, all right? So education. Okay, and what else? Yeah, work experience, all right? So we have the headers, objective, education, work experience, and what else? Skills, all right? Skills. What contains skills? Skills means 2 skills, right?
Language and
Academic. No, that's a reference. Somebody would like to help him? Yeah, computing skills and language skills, right? So we have, and what else? 2 more.
reference.
Reference is last, all right? We can put reference available upon request. How about the last second one? The last second one. The last second, 最后倒数第2个 last second. Achievement, interest achievement, good, all right? So that's resume. All right, so we have done resume. Now let's keep going. Keep going to the second part, all right? Autobiography. Okay, so I put 5 tips, right, on autobiography. You may want to take a look at number 5, page number 5. Okay, autobiography. Usually we go through our slides first, right, and then we get back to the example here. So about your autobiography, of course you put your name, right, and put your birthplace, or we say where you're from. Like if you are from a countryside, then you may take advantages from where you grew up, right, and something about you. So for example, this is the first part, and the first paragraph. First paragraph, you put your name, right? My name is, I'm pleased to inform you that my name is blah, 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 okay? And where are you from? This is very important. In the first paragraph, usually we tell the selector that where you are from, right? So if you are, here's an example. If you are from a countryside, right, then you can say that I was raised in the 10th school in like South Dakota. South Dakota is a very, remote place, countryside. So that background has given me the foundations of strong work ethic, 道德, 职业道德, strong work ethic, and family values. Okay, because it's a quiet, very peaceful place. So you may take advantage from where you're from. Right? If you are from a big city, like a Taipei, like a Kaohsiung, then you can put sentence like this. Right? Living in a big city has broadened my horizon. Okay, and so that I have a very cosmopolitan outlook on life. Cosmopolitan means international, because big city usually you will meet several different like foreign people, right? So you broaden. You can say that growing in the big city really broadened my horizon, right? It's cosmopolitan outlook, etc. So this first sentence, first paragraph, you talk about your growing background, right? Like where you're from, and take advantages from where you're from. All right, and the second part. Okay, second part is the academic life. Alright, so as for your academic life, you mentioned the schools you went to, and the degrees, achievements, and the academic honors. Okay, so that's the second part. Alright, so start with where you're from, and then your education, and the next part, C part, will be career goals and achievement. Alright, for example, what do you hope to achieve in your life? Alright, why do you want to apply for the job? Right, why you are interested in your professional field, something like that. Okay, and then you may want to mention about community projects, community awards, or volunteerism. All right, to be a volunteer is very honored, so you may want to mention that in your autobiography. So that's the fourth part, and the last one. Use your resume and summarize. So you may, when you're writing your autobiography, you may want to review what you have done for your resume, right? And try to put more information or more explanation according to your resume. Okay, so you use your resume to summarize what positions you have held and schools attended if not already mentioned. Right? So autobiography will go with your resume, right? If there's some information missing from your resume, you can put in autobiography. Okay, so now can you write a resume now? Can you write your autobiography now? After we're talking so much about the resume and autobiography. How many of you are ready to write a resume? Please raise your hand. How many of you are not ready to write your resume at this moment? Please raise your hand. Not ready. Okay? Trust me, you can write your resume right now, right here. Okay? Let me show you how. Actually, if you do have a difficulty to write your resume and your autobiography, here's a website that will help you to get a good start. Let me show you this website. This website called Resume Builder. Have you heard of this? Okay. If you do have difficulty, all right, to write your resume and your autobiography, then you may try to get some help, right? And this website will help you to step the first step, all right, for your resume and autobiography. For example, this is an autobiography builder. We also have a resume builder. Okay, let me give you an example here. For example, my name is Michelle. Put the capital letter here. right? And to obtain a challenging, demanding position that will feature enhanced my knowledge and skills. Okay. Minnesota State University. Tesla. Let's go to English. Let's see what will happen. Right? So you send you the information out. You see, your resume will be ready here, right? And you try to see how they are working on your resume, and you can modify later, right? You can modify the format later. So you see that you capitalize your name on the top of this page, or even center of the page. Okay, let's take another example of the autobiography. Right? Who would like to come up here and type your information? You can put the fake information here. Maybe you want to try? No? You want to try? You just simply type some of your information on the website. On here. Okay? So we will see what will happen. John Chen. You can use fake information. Just want to see what will happen. It's called the autobiography builder. Good doctor. Lawyer. Funny. Okay, just do it. That's right. Or you can simply text example. Okay, that's enough. Let's go down to again, send to the autobiography. Alright, so you see the autobiography is done here. Alright, so you can use the sample and try to modify. Alright, so my name is John Chen. I was born in Taipei on January 1st, 1980. I spent my childhood and school years there. My father is a doctor, my mother is a lawyer. As a student, I tried to get good grades at school. Math is my favorite subject because it's funny. Right? So you try to. Because it's funny. I'm glad after because we use a complete sentence, right? So this is a references for you to start your resume or start your autobiography. If you do have a difficulty, right? So you may want to keep the information, keep that in mind, right? Keep this information when you need it, or when somebody around you, your friends need information, you can share with them. Right? It's called autobiography builder. It's also available in foreign countries. Okay, so let's just give you information about how to start with your resume, how to start your autobiography. Okay, now let's go to the next part. Alright, we have done curriculum vitae, resume, and the autobiography. Now let's talk about the cover letter. I provide a first of all, let's take a look at page 5. All right, I want you to go through page 5, autobiography. I think this is a good example. Right, this autobiography is a good example. All right, so we may want to take a look. I was born and brought up in Houston, Texas, I was since a family of 4 with my parents, me, and my younger brother. The schooling years of my life were toughest. I struggled a lot in my studies. The standardized procedure of education never interested me. It sounds like she is not a good student, right? But don't worry, she tried to make up later, right? The second part, I was an average student throughout my academic life. Extracurricular activities like sports, drawing, craft, etc. were my favorite things. I just remember that it was the second semester of 8th grade when I stood first in class. However, it didn't serve any purpose in motivating me to take up studies seriously. So when she was in high school, she didn't study, she didn't work very hard. But she said, I enjoyed understanding the concept more than just memorizing ready-made notes. After completion of my schooling and college in the science stream, I chose to become a painter. It's a huge change, right? It was a great decision taken by me at that time. Today, however, I don't regret it at all. Okay, last paragraph. My career in painting began smoothly, and I was more than happy to grab the right opportunity for which I was waiting so long. Today, I'm happy with my life and enjoy it to the fullest. The positive attitude to face hardships brought out the best of me. Today, I'm looking forward to facing the challenges of life in a positive manner. So you can see how she changed her attitude, how she changed her learning experience during the past years. All right. So in the beginning, she said that she was just average student. All right, not very smart, not very good, didn't get very good grades. But it's no problem because she used her weakness to become her strengthness. Okay, so here's the comments at the bottom of this page. I put comments. You may want to take a look at the third line in this first paragraph. Writing an autobiography is a huge effort, and it requires patience to put the facts and experiences in a proper manner. Autobiographies are detailed accounts of a person's life and should be written with care and responsibility. All right, the second paragraph, we just take a look at the last sentence. So someone can draw inspiration from the tough time of the past and move on in life with a positive attitude. Alright, so even you were struggling from something, you can still put that weakness into your strengthness. That will help your selectors know that you can deal with the difficulties, you can face challenges, right? And you know how to deal with it. Okay, so this is a good example. Alright, so now we finished autobiography and resume. Now let's go to the cover letter. Cover letter is more important than autobiography, so we may spend some time with the cover letter. I give you an example on cover letter, right? On page 6. Alright, so with the cover letter is a formal business English letter. So you start with the date, right? On the very beginning, you start with the date. Okay, and your address, mailing address, right? And then you put the name. If you don't know who you want to mail to, you can just simply pick up the phone and make a call, right? You can ask them, who is the manager of, who is in charge of the interview? Who is the leader of the Human Resources Department? Human Resources Department. You can make a call, or simply make a call to find out that person's name. All right, that will show your sincerity. Okay, so we put the name here, all right, and the address, and here there's the address. Right? So here, if you know the name of the person in the company you are writing to, then try to use it. Okay? Don't say just dear sirs, to whom may concern, which is not professional. Right? We say to whom may concern means 近期者. Right? But we usually don't do that. Right? You just make a phone call and find out who is in charge of collecting resumes. Okay? And the first paragraph. Right? You can take a look here. I was very interested to read your advertisement for graduate training on the University of Kent vacancy database as it precisely fit my career plans. Alright, so when you write your cover letter, in the first paragraph, you follow the business letters order, and then in the first paragraph, please tell them that where you found their information, where you found the advertisement. Okay, and also you are applying for an advertisement vacancy, state the job you are applying for, just like your job objective, right? You state the job you are applying for and where you found out about it, where you found the advertisement. Alright, so cover letter means called 求职信, right? 求职信. So cover letter will go with your resume. Alright, usually you put the cover letter on the top. Right, and your resume, that's it, right? Not many companies, only in Taiwan, I don't know why, only in Taiwan, the companies in Taiwan require autobiography, but actually in the United States, never ask autobiography, they only need your resume and cover letter, that's it. Okay, so here, that's the first page, first paragraph, right? You tell them that where you found the advertisement and what job you are looking for, what position you're looking for, that's the first short paragraph. Okay, and then the second paragraph, I highlighted some parts, right? The second paragraph, that's the career, which will enable me to use not only my interest in business and finance, but also my skills in working with people, both in the adversary and measurable capacity, right? So say what attracts you to the particular career. So the second paragraph, you usually say why you are interested in the job, right? For example, your major is your major is business. Then you may want to tell them that why you are interested in business, right? So you start with the second paragraph, right, with your enthusiasm. Right, that's the second paragraph. Alright, and then now you go down the next paragraph. I'm particularly interested in a career with the Elsewhere Bank because of the high reputation of your great graduate training scheme and your commitment to giving new recruits regular responsibility. Okay, so the third paragraph, you try to mention that company, right? Try to mention the strengths of that company you are applying for. So which means you study a little bit of that company, right? So show that you have researched the career carefully, right? So you can see it. You show that you already did research about the company. Alright, and here you can also say what attracts you to the employer. Why you want to work for the company? Because they are growing. Because you think like a cell phone, computers, iPods, you can say that because you can see the features, right? The features of this industry, right? Something like that. So the company, you say that you prefer to work. If it is a big company, then you can say you admire their reputation, you admire their welfare policies, right? Or you like their training programs, right? If the company that you're applying for is a smaller one, so you can put like you say you prefer to work for a small, friendly organization, right? So you try to tell them that why you want to work for that employer. Okay, and then the next paragraph. Next paragraph. I highlighted the importance of ascertaining customers' needs to providing clear and accurate information in response to those needs. Okay, so here's an example. Here's an explanation. So you try to give evidence of people's skills, of your own skills. You give evidence. So in the first paragraph, you mentioned that where you found the advertisement, okay, and what position you're looking for. That's the first paragraph, right? The second paragraph, you tell them that why you are interested in this field, in this professional field. And the third paragraph, you want to mention that you did research about the company, right? You said that why you want to work for that employer. And now you try to give evidence of people's skills. You try to give evidence of your professional skills. It's a good idea to emphasize the qualities and skills which are particularly relevant to the vacancy. So you tell them that you have experience because you have been working on this field for several years. You have relevant skills, etc. So you try to give evidence about relevant to this vacancy, right? So summarize your strength and how they might be an advantage to the organization. Okay, so that will help them to understand more about your personal skills. Okay, and then the next part, so you give a specific evidence of relevant skills for this job. Right, so specific evidence. You give evidence before, and then you try to give a specific something, more specific related to the job, the job open for you. And the last part, right, try to show your enthusiasm. The last part, so in the final paragraph, indicate you are available for interview, mention the dates that you will not be available, and thank the employers and say you look forward to hearing from this one. Okay, so in the last paragraph, you try to say thank you and try to say that thank you very much for putting me on the consideration, right, etc. So we can see in the last paragraph here. Now, I will be available for interview at any time apart from 12 to 24 August when I have arranged a holiday in Italy. If you are a senior student at university, you may not be available for certain days when you still have a class, right? So you try to mention that you are available on, I'm available on Mondays, Fridays, because you don't have class, all right? So you try to give them schedule in the very last paragraph, right? And also show that you can say, I'm looking forward to hearing from you shortly. I'm looking forward to hearing from you soon. And some things like that, and enclose my CV for your consideration. Okay, so the last paragraph to show the thankfulness, to show you're grateful, right? And also tell them when you are available for interview. Request the interview. Okay, and the last part, try to type your name. Alright, of course you type your cover letter, you should also type your name. But don't forget to signal, right? Don't forget to put your autographs here. So you print your name underneath of your signal. Okay, and here it says one graduate recruitment manager claimed 20% of the letters arrived unsigned. Alright, so you better sign your signature, your autograph in the bottom of of your cover letter. That will help the selector to see you are very sincere about this job, the job application. Okay, so that's the cover letter. Any questions about cover letter? Here's an example. So when you write your resume, your cover letter, you can take this as a reference, right? As your reference to see how they work with your cover letter. Okay, any questions so far? Alright, to give you some examples. Alright, and then introduce yourself. How can you introduce yourself? Usually when the selector watch your self-introduction video, they can only pay their attention about 1 minute. So the first 1 minute is most important. Okay, so when we start with the introductions, I wanted to show you another video.
One of the most commonly asked questions is, tell me about yourself. Most people find this...
Actually, this video is related to interview, alright? Even you don't make a video of your self-introduction, you may want to, when you have an interview, they will ask you to introduce yourself, of course, alright? So in the very beginning of the interview, they will ask, could you please talk about yourself? Could you please introduce yourself first? Even they already have your resume, right? But they also want to see if the resume is true. Okay, so the honest resume is most important key. Okay, so tell me something about yourself.
Difficult to respond to. Scenario. Company.
Do you know
A
scenario?
pharmaceutical company.
Do you know scenario? 状况一 So interview scenario, right? Company, pharmaceutical company, right? Pharmaceutical pharmacy, medicine. This pharmaceutical company means the company they're making medicine. So here's the scenario. Applicant, a fresh graduate, position applied for sales representative.
Applicant. A fresh graduate. Position applied for: sales representative.
So tell me something about yourself.
Okay, sample of bad answer. Alright, so the following example is bad. Right, let's see how he reacts to this question.
I am Jose Cruz, and my friends call me Nonoy. I'm 23 years old, and yeah, my parents married early, and what happened was they separated. So my mom remarried after a couple of years. Now I have a stepbrother and 2 stepsisters.
Interview.
What he said that his parents met earlier and they separated. Now I have a step sisters, something like that. Right? That's a personal issue. That's personal problems, right? So never bring any personal problems to the interview, right? Don't talk about this. This is
Viewers only have an attention span of 60 seconds. Never miss every opportunity.
So you see, attention span of 60 seconds. So they can only pay attention to your presentation only 1 minute. So the first minute is very important. Limit the 3 key points to quality, right? Concentrate on specific achievement. Try to bring up your achievement, the achievement you have made in the past years. Okay, so let's take a look at
Opportunity to sell yourself. So do not give generic personal answers. Your answer about yourself should be limited to 3 key points that make you qualify for the position that you are applying for. Concrete and specific achievements and accomplishments would be desired. Very personal stuff should be avoided, and anything that would put you in a bad light should be minimized.
Alright, so this answer.
I have an innate passion for sales. When I was 12 years old,
He said that he has a passion. He has passion to sales.
I was already selling items to my friends and relatives. During that summer, I was able to raise 5,000 pesos just by selling low-end chocolates to my classmates. And with those...
Where he's from? He's from Philippines because he said he made 5,000 pesos, alright, by selling chocolate to his friends and relatives. So when he was a student and he tried to sell something, so he shows that his passion in sales.
earnings, I was able to buy a BMX bike that I wanted over that summer. I could say that I'm also passionate with relating to people. During my college years, I joined a lot of organizations in my school and became an officer. Being able to excel in those organizations shows my good time management skills. And lastly, I am an achiever. I have excellent academic grades together with the extracurricular activities to the point that I have managed to graduate as a cum laude.
Okay, so this, the second one's a good example, right? So you just try to bring out your passions in this field and your professional background. He mentioned about his educational background, and he is looking forward to working in that field. So this is a good example. So when you introduce yourself, you may want to mention something. First of course, your name, education, your competence, and the prospective career. Prospective means the future, your future career you are looking for, a future career that you are looking for, right? What kind of a job you want to get, what kind of position you want to reach, right? Even you start from an assistant, sales assistant, and you want to reach as high position as you want. So you show your prospective career, you show your ambition. Right? And also, you may want to mention your hobby in the very end because it's not really important. What the employer really want to know is your professional skills. Okay, so here is another example.
Hi, my name is Eduardo Rodriguez, who usually go by me.
Step number 1 to introduce yourself, your name, or how to spell it if you have very specific name. Alright, step number 2 to describe your education background.
Complete my bachelor degree from Ohio Wesleyan University
Alright, so his bachelor degree.
in a major of economic management concentrated and double minor in
Double minor, so you mentioned your major. If you have a minor, you bring up your minor here.
philosophy and psychology.
Step number 3, describe your capacity.
My background has prepared me to be a fast learner with high interpersonal skill, as well as high integrity and responsibility. Currently, I'm looking for a job in the business management field, marketing, or anything related to that. And also in my free time, I actually play sport, swim, tennis, or play music, or sometimes gain more knowledge in a topic interest by reading. Thank you.
Okay, that's it clear and very, very easy to let the selector know about yourself. Alright, you only have 1 minute, so you try to mention your name, your education, your competence, perspective, your feature site, and your hobby. If you do have time, you can mention your hobbies. Right, that's how you introduce yourself. Right, so you may prepare 1 minute self-introduction. Right, that will be good enough for your interview. Good start for your interview. Okay, now let's talk about last part, interview. Before we get started, I'd like to play another video, which is a short advertisement, but very interesting. How scared of the interview.
Mr. Gilman, how much do you think you qualify for this job?
Okay, let's go back here. What's he asking the question?
Mr. Gilman, how much do you think you qualify for this job?
Qualify for this job. And he went crazy right away. Why did he do this? Okay, let's just say, just let you relax. Okay, so interview is very most scary part, right, for applying the job. So you have your resume ready, autobiography, cover letter, and even you prepare 1 minute video for your self-introduction. But interview is very scary because you get tense, you got butterflies in your stomach, right? Very nervous, right? So here, with the interviews, there are some tips to prepare for your interview. Okay, I make a lot of lists. Right? So first of all, dealing with interview anxiety, right? Because everybody is nervous about the interview. So how can you solve this problem? So the only way to solve this problem is be prepared. Okay, so we're going to talk about it a lot. Now let's go to the first part, dealing with interview anxiety. The interview for a job is often filled with anxiety and fear. The only way, okay, how to prepare ourselves and to become more self-confident and relaxed. How? The best way is to be prepared. Okay, so before you go to the interview, you try to collect all the information about yourself. You may want to review your autobiography, review your resume, review your cover letter to remind you your background. Okay, so be prepared is the best way to reduce anxiety and help ensure a successful job interview. So well prepared, right, will help you to have confidence, right, to help you to release the nervousness. Okay, and how to prepare? Okay, so first of all, you gather the work samples, right? You copy your resume, references, and place them into a nice folder, right? Like you print out like the samples that pass around, right? So that's a good example to put everything together, right? So if you're collecting all your copies, you try to put it into a nice folder and bring this folder to the interview. Okay, and review your work experience. Write down your questions about the job or organization. You can not only they interview you, you can also interview them. You need to ask them some questions, like where I would work, how many people in the team. You can get information. You can ask them the questions, so you make a list of the questions. Okay, and practice your answers to common interview questions. There are a lot of common interview questions online. You can always search interview questions. Right? There are a bunch of questions, so you can well prepared for your interview. Okay, and then remember to bring a pen, alright? Because they may want you to sign the signature, so you will have a pen ready, alright, with you. Okay, and then questions to ask before the interview. So before you go to the interview, you can make a phone call to find the location. You can ask how many people will be interviewing me. Alright, so you will be well prepared. If there's only one, then you will be reduce your nervousness. Right? If they say, oh, there will be 10 interviews, then you have to prepare more, right, about the interview. Well, I've been only one interviewed during this time. Okay, what kind of questions will be asked? You can ask them. You can ask them if they are willing to tell you. That's fine. If they say no, we don't know. It depends on the interviews. Okay, then you can prepare some common questions. Right? How can I be best prepared for the interview? What are the names of the interviewers? Right? If you can get names, that's great. You can search online, right? Or you can make a phone call to find the interviewer's name. If you can call like a manager Chen, manager Wu, you can mention their name. That will be very impressive, right? For yourself. Okay, and then before you go to the company, please research the company online, right? You can at least you need to know what kind of product they are making. Right? What kind of market? What kind of markets they have? Do they do import or export? You need to know the information about the company. Right? So before you go to the company, please do research online. Okay, and then interview do's and don'ts. Right? Something you need to do, something you don't do. Right? During the interview, let's take a look at do's. Alright, so at interview, sit on the front third of the seat. Alright, you don't want to relax on the chair, right? So you sit straight. Alright, if you're a man, then you leg crossed but closed. Okay, if you're a lady, leg or feet crossed, you're wearing skirt. If you're wearing pants, then you can keep them crossed but closed. Okay, and hands folds in front like this. So you won't be very nervous, or you won't scratch yourself, right? Touch your nose. You keep your both hands in front, right? Something like things like that, right? That will help you calm. Okay, and sit up straight with the head, neck, and chest aligned with the hip, right? With your hips. So you sit straight, right? Only you take only the front third of the seat, right? Don't relax on the chair. Okay, some don'ts. Don't chew gum and smoke, of course. Okay, don't distract the interviewers. Okay, don't bring family and friends. You want to show your independence, right? So you don't bring any friends, don't bring parents to the interview, right? Which is not good. We say 妈宝, right? If you bring your mother to the interview, they will think, oh, you're not dependent yet. Okay? Avoid, right? You try to make sure for all your answers, so you need to prepare it. Okay? Now, here's a video I'd like to show you here about the interview don'ts. Alright? Don't do that during your interview. This video is quite funny. He's going to the interview, so he ironing his shirt, get himself ready.
So you're off to your job interview. Looking good, hotshot.
Okay, no, looking good. Let's go to the interview.
It's not just about having the right gear though. Maintaining good body language will help you secure that job interview and make the right impression, without saying a word.
Body language.
You're not hungover, you're wearing tidy attire, and you've made the effort to polish your shoes. It's a good start. Your manner and your dress sense certainly say a lot about you, but your body language can still let you down. Here's what you need to know before you walk into that interview room.
Alright, greeting. Hey handshaking.
It's always difficult greeting someone for the first time.
Alright, so as for handshaking, don't hold
A
too
little
tight.
aggressive. Your interviewer knows you want the job, so don't astound them with an overconfident gesture. Avoid nose flicking, high fives, air kisses, or jazz hands. Play it simple and mirror their handshake grip to avoid dominant vibes.
Usually 3 seconds will be enough for handshaking, right? 3 seconds. So relax the interview chair, but don't too relax.
The interviewer will show you to your chair. This is the all-important hot seat, and the way you sit conveys a lot of information. Take a moment to position and get comfortable. But not too comfortable.
Not too comfortable.
Look relaxed. It encourages your interviewer to feel at ease in your company. However, no matter how informal the discussion, avoid slouching. You're not at home watching the telly now.
You're not home watching telephone. Don't form your body barrier. Barrier means 缩在一起, right? Don't fold your arms like this. Don't put your body
An
barrier.
interview is not the time to come over all shy and retiring. Folding the arms across your chest or turning the shoulders away conveys a nervous, negative, or even aggressive attitude.
Yeah, that should show you the negative part. Right? So don't do barrier.
That's it.
That's
Use
it.
your upper torso to define an open and honest attitude. Keep the back straight and tilt slightly forward to demonstrate interest.
Alright. Keep your hands away from your face.
Children cover their mouths when they're telling lies.
Children cover their mouths when they are telling lies. That's the body language, right? So when children are touching their mouth or their nose, which means they or rub their eyes, which shows they are lying because they cannot face you, right? So that's children's body language. So even for adults, we don't touch our face when we are talking to somebody.
As we get older, this subconscious habit turns into nose touching, cheek brushing, or the tweaking of the tool shed. If you're stroking the nose, caressing sideburns, or chin scratching, these actions can make your interviewer feel suspicious.
Suspicious, right? They will, with hands, right, touching fingers, touching your face, that will make your interview suspicious.
Right.
So, right.
Avoid touching
The best position for interview is to hold your both hands, all right, and foot table, or you can put both of your hands on your thigh, or on your thighs.
Your hands interlocked or relaxed in your lap.
Alright, stay focused.
It's important to concentrate during your interview. stop constant eye movement or repetitive looks to the floor or ceiling. By moving the eyes around the room, you risk looking devious, apprehensive, or just plain bored. Give your interviewer your full attention. Look and listen.
Alright, so eye contact is very important. And don't look at ceilings or floors. Alright, so look outside. Okay, stay still.
During the interview, don't transfer your butterflies into reflexes like fidgeting. Watching your legs perform a neat rendition of river dance under the table is one distraction the interviewer doesn't need.
Alright, that's why we say keep your legs closed. Alright, so you want to fidget your legs, fidget your hands.
Channel nerves into simple yet elegant hand gestures to endorse what you say.
Alright, stop repeating. Even if
Yes, that's a nice try.
Okay. Even if you find something wrong with your dress, right, try to ignore it. Don't be so picky during the interview. You see what happened here?
But obsessive touching or grooming of your garments conveys an element of boredom or distrust.
Well, yes.
Even if you're certain there's a speck on your clothes, leave it alone.
Yeah, leave them alone. Right? Don't. If you find something wrong, just ignore it.
No one else will notice but you.
No one will notice but you. Only you know. Maintain eye contact.
Keep your eye contact true and steady. But remember to blink. An interview can be intense, so avoid adopting a serial killer stare. Instead, create an imaginary triangle on your interviewer's face and look within that zone.
So look in their eyes when you're talking to somebody. Right? When talking to the interviewers, look in their eyes. So here's the triangle.
Try not to drop your gaze below the triangle though. Any further south and things start to get a little intimate. Crossing your legs during the interview is agreeable and will not appear as defensive as crossing your arms.
Crossing your arms shows that you are defensive.
It's useful if you point to the interviewer with your knees or your feet. This will help you position your body so you're focused on them alone. But don't overdo it.
How can you
Being
use
physically
your hands?
expressive as you speak shows confidence in what you're saying. Use your hands to roll out answers or give shape to your ideas. That's it. The interviewers think you know what you're talking about. However, don't exaggerate the gestures. You're not breaking moves at the local discotheque. And avoid finger pointing. Instead, motion with your hands palm up, as this signifies an offering gesture.
Here's a type of body language. When you're talking about something, you'll use your palm up, facing up, to show your honesty, to show that you are sincere. So that's why most people say when they're talking about somebody, they give a presentation, they like to use their palm facing up. That's a good body language.
Perfecting your body language requires practice in a...
Okay, so that's about the body language. Let's finish out the rest of the tips for interview, alright? So be careful of bad habits like tapping your fingers like this, tapping your fingers, or biting your nails, alright? Try to avoid your bad habits. Playing your hairs when you're talking to your employees, alright? Don't play your hairs or clicking your pants like this, okay? So don't do that. They are all bad habits. Okay, and the things to remember to interview, or when you have an interview, alright, so try to be on time, which is very important, right? And get yourself ready. Nice haircut, alright, clean shaved, neat dress, right? Things like that. Okay, what else? Alright, be friendly, show your enthusiasm, be positive and honest, maintain eye contact, express yourself, and be a good listener. Okay, emphasize your strengths, avoid personal issues. Don't bring any personal issues up during the interview. Discuss the ways you can contribute. Don't criticize your previous boss, which is important. Because if you criticize your previous boss, which means you will criticize your current or future employer later. So they don't like this. Okay, and positive questions. Right, so you can search all the questions online, like would you please introduce yourself, what are your career goals, what do you want to be, why should I hire you, right, something you bring your skills, personal skills to the interview, right, questions. Okay, what will my responsibility and duty be, what will my performance be evaluated. Okay, so in the very end, they will give you a bonus. How can I be evaluated? That's also important, right? Is there any training program? Can I have a training program to join to improve my contribution to the company? Okay, and the issue of salary. You don't ask for salaries in the very beginning for the first interview. Usually we don't talk about salary. Unless the interviewers bring this up. Otherwise, you don't ask, how much can I get every month? We don't ask this question unless they bring this up first. Okay, so race is subject to pay benefit topic addressed in the second interview or after job offered. Right? If they say, oh, okay, you got John, you got the offer, so then you can ask the salary. Okay, the research the average salary. So you don't ask for too much, right? And you don't undersell yourself. So you may try to find the average salary. Okay, and what else? Okay, right after interview, you may want to write a thank you note to the company, or you can call them to ask them when can you get the results. Okay, and follow the interview with the thank you note and a letter. Analyze your performance. If you didn't do very good on your interview, then you try to avoid something bad happened before, right? And to do better for your next interview, right? So learn from the process and be patient. Okay, last part, right? Dress. I think you have no problem with that, right? So you dress, take into account of weather. Okay, and think conservative, also the conservative, traditional, neat, modest, clean style. Okay, dark or neutral. Dark is best choice, right? 深色的 or neutral 中性的 colors. Okay, I think that's it. Right, no casual dress. Okay, so the key to success in the job interview is to be prepared, right? To be prepared is the only key to be successful about your interview. Okay, since we don't have much time, so we go quickly about each part. Okay, I hope you will get good luck for your future interview. Okay, that's it. That's for today's lecture. Thank you very much.
对啊，你就比较晚拿到那个。